Hello everybody, welcome to this wonderful reading. I'm Zoe Alex, welcome. You know, this is the thing that I'm going to tell you all. This is a very funny reason I'm going to tell you all. Basically, it's funny, okay? It's going to make you laugh your head off. It's going to be very interesting of how it was. And you think to yourself, it's like, well, this is the way of opportunity, you know? It was so funny and hilarious about my day today, right? And I'll explain it towards the tarot situation. There was a time that, whether I act very weird, very, how it is, that's how it was. But the point being is that when, this is the way it was, I think to myself, it's like, well, this is the way it seemed to be. So, during this wonderful, funny video that I'm doing, and you might make yourselves last for this. Basically, it seemed to be that it was very interesting of how it was because it's the way how it seems to be. Now you're questioning why, okay? And it's the way it kind of looks. So based on that opportunity that I kind of observed, it was very interesting of how it was in that sequence, and it was so funny and hilarious. Oh my god. It was kind of interesting, so whether you get the feeling that there was something that was wrong with you, and, there was something wrong with me, right? Very wrong. And so, it's the way of how it was. But I'm going to explain it in my own set of words because, it's the way of how it was. Because this is a funny reading. Very funny and hilarious at the same time. And I think to myself, it's like, well, this is a way of how it was. And you think, okay, well, this is a very fine lining. And you think, okay, well, this is the way it happens. Yes, you think that everything was kind of funny, but it was very interesting about how it was. And so, one of the oracle cards that I'm going to read you, basically it would be very funny and hilarious at the same time. Because I basically found out that there was something happening. And, this is the way it was. Because now you think, okay, well, this is a very funny reading. And it might make you kind of laugh. But this is the way it goes. So I'm going to read you one oracle card. And then we will do the tarot and everything else. So, this oracle card that says regret. I know that I cannot change the past. When I looked at regret, I think about, there's lots of past mistakes that I did wrong. I did that. And whether you are being, selfish, naive, not, that's the way it was, where you're feeling regret. Regret is an opportunity to learn. And, you feeling like you're feeling selfish, you're feeling like naive, you're feeling pissed off, you're feeling how it was. And you think about that. You think about how it was in that graceful situation, and you think that, okay, well, everything's fine and dandy and what have you. But the point being is that in this remarkable reading that I'm going to tell you all, it's basically how the word is regret, and this is how it is. It could happen to you, it could happen about how it was, but like I say, this is just a funny hilarious reading. Like you will laugh your head off, like as a good expression, okay? And you understand about how it was, because now you have to believe that, okay, well, I know what to do, but then this is the way it was, right? Because that's how it seems to be. So whether things will be in that perspective, it's like, okay, well, everything's fine, but it's like, no. So it's like, this is the way it was, but you feeling that you're going to have regret. That's the way it goes. So that was the start of the reading. Now, I'm going to look at what's happening through the tarot situation. I'm going to go from a different perspective, and you will see the cards in a moment. So, it's like this is what it was, and it was very interesting, and it was very, how, I'm not going to say majestic, but it was very different of how it was, because now you think that, okay, well, everything seems to be fine, but it's saying, well, this is how it was. So here we go. So in this remarkable reading that I'm going to tell you all is that you have the Knight of Swords is upright. So it does represent my drama. I had drama that I had. The Six of Pentacles is upright where I was being, being active. I was being kindness. I was being, genuine and, generosity. And that's the way it was. The Hermit reversed that I already have a soulmate. I already have one. And that was it. The King of Wands reversed, it means that I had passion. But then I didn't have any passion, And there was something that was wrong in that perspective. I think that, okay, well, everything's fine. But it's like, well, it's not, right? So it was very interesting, very enticing about how it was. So, this is the way it was. And I'll give you a whole dialogue about this whole entire reading that will make you laugh. But anyway, this is just the way it was, because it will tell you this whole entire way it was happening. So I'm going to go from the Knight of Swords, and I'll do, 3-card reading for that. The Hermit, the Six of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. I'll do everything for 3 cards. So the Knight of Pentacles reversed, King of Swords, King of Cups reversed, but the Hierophant is upright. So I had guidance. I had guidance. The King of Cups reversed, I had no any support. And the Knight of Pentacles reversed, I didn't trust. I had that ability that I was in the wrong. I did something stupid, messed up. And I think that, well, it wasn't very good. And I just, sat and I did the whole entire expression. Why it's me, and, like, why I'm so low, whatever it is. And you better, take it as a grain of salt, not like a grain of pepper, not like you're going to be having your cup of coffee, you know what I mean. But that's what it seemed to be. Now, the Hermit, I'm going to clarify that as well. The Five of Cups is upright, so there was grief. The King of Wands reversed, there was no passion. But the Knight of Cups reversed, yeah, there was no romance. And I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like there was no romance, but then I had grief. I was thinking, okay, well, this is basically into that Gone Show situation. I'm thinking, forget this, I'm out. And, it was very interesting of how stupid it was, Now, the Six of Pentacles is upright. I'm going to clarify that. The Temperance is upright, there's healing. Page of Swords reversed, there's no education. Eight of Swords reversed, there's no anxiety. Not yet, I had my own, education. I had my own anxiety. But then the Temperance is upright because I was healing. And I thought that, okay, well, everything was fine, dandy, whatever, that's the way it was. And I think that, okay, well, I got this. But then it's like, well, this is the way it was, right? That's just the way it was. And I thought, okay, well, I can do it. But then I had to realize that there was something that was happening. What's this King of Wands about? The Knight of Wands reversed, the Seven of Pentacles reversed, but the Knight of Wands is upright. Yeah, so I had fear, and what was happening with that fear situation, it was very interesting, enticing, and it was a time that it was very interesting of how it was and how it began. I thought that everything was fine, and I thought, okay, well, I know what to do, and I basically thought that, okay, well, I basically think that everything was perfectly well, and I thought that, okay, well, I know what to do, but then this is the way it happened. So I'm going to go from between the Hermit and work my way up to the Hierophant, and then I'm going to go from this way, okay? So I'll do the 3-card reading again. Justice reversed, followed by the Ace of Pentacles is upright, followed by the Knight of Wands is upright. Yeah, see, I was having fear, and fear was a very dramatizing way. And the Ace of Pentacles represents prosperity, like money, in that perspective. And, I basically thought to myself, like, well, I had the justice, and I didn't tell the truth, or I wasn't, having any action, And that's what it was. I had that fear based on saying, well, this is the way it was. This is the way of how it was. What's happening between this Temperance card? The Chariot is upright because there's progress. Five of Cups reversed, there's no fear. The World is upright, there's completion. Yeah, I had that. I had that ability from that right and wrong perspective. The Chariot is upright because it represents the progress. Like I had progress, and it's the way of how it was, right? I had progress, I had completion, everything was okay. But then that's the way it was. Between the King of Wands and the Nine of Wands, I'm going to clarify that. Two Pentacles reversed, there's no balance. Nine of Cups reversed, there's no romance. The Eight of Cups is upright because I represent to be an entertainer. I want to entertain people, I want to make them laugh, I want to do that. But then I had that, that basically about this regret card. Like I was feeling like I'm having regret. That's how it was. And I thought to myself, it's like, well, I know what to do, but then it's like how it's based on that, how it's based on truth, reconciliation. That's the way it was. So between in the middle of the situation, I'm going to clarify this. The King of Cups is upright, yeah, because I had support. I had that ability from that right and wrong perspective. It's the way of how it was. So I'm going to clarify the Knight of Cups, the Two of Pentacles, and the Eight of Cups. Queen of Wands reversed, followed by the Strength card is upright. Yeah, because I had the strength. I had the ability from the right and wrong perspective. That's what happened. In the Five of Swords upright, I had basically conflict. It's the way how it was, because in that perspective, I thought, okay, well, everything was fine. It's like, yeah, but does it give me that lifeline? Does it give me that silver lining? Everything has a silver lining to begin with. And you think that, okay, well, everything was peachy and everything is. It's like, yeah, but how would you do it? How would you, do what you can and say, well, this is the way it was, right? This is the way it happens. And you think that. So I'm going to clarify the middle to the left and the middle to the right. Lovers is upright, there was decisions. Justice is upright because I was basically, telling the truth, having action. The Wheel of Fortune is upright because I had good luck on my side. I did that, right? The Lovers was upright because I had decisions to make, and that's what happens. Because you have to see it, right? Like I have to see it in my own way and my own expression. That's how it was. Now the King of Cups to the World. I'm going to clarify that. The Fool reverse, there was no change. The Sun card is upright, there's positivity. The Strength card, yeah, because I had strength. Between the right side and left side, I both have strength to get together. That's what it was. Like, it was very interesting. I had positivity, right? I wasn't even in a negative, that's the way it was. I wasn't in the negative slot, whatever it was. But that was, it seemed to be. I had to, do whatever I did, right? And I had to make it right, not to make it wrong, but, that's how it was. So you had to think about how it was in that expression. That's the way it was. What's between the right side? That was upright. Yeah, there was chaos. The Hermit is upright. There was solitude. The Judgment is upright because I will be taking action. The Tower is upright because there was transformation. Yeah, everything was changing, left, right, and center. And it was very interesting about how I was feeling. That's what it was. I had to, intervene. I had to do what I had to do. And that's how it is, right? That's why it was very interesting about this reading, because it does make sense, and whether you're feeling, how it was, how you're feeling, it was the way of how it was, because in that perspective, that I'm going to put this into writing, into this written part about this whole entire diagram. It was so funny and hilarious that, I thought I was being scammed or whatever it was, and, it was so funny, and I was at a cafe shop, at Tim Hortons. It was a coffee shop. Anyway, I was sitting there, drinking my coffee, what I did. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden there was a cop came, he phones me. Like, really, he phones me. All of a sudden he phones me. Like, a private number, right? I thought it was something else. I was like, I'm not going to phone him back. He phoned me twice, 2 times, on my cell phone. And I'm thinking, okay, fine. All of a sudden, he appeared out of nowhere, and he walked towards where I was sitting. And he was asking me questions. And I made him laugh, because he said, oh, what was this scammer was giving you money and all this stuff. Like, and it was basically, how much it was. And I thought to myself, the scammer wasn't in Canada, it was in the United States. and the cop laughed and he said, well, I can help you there, sir. I can help you there. So, it was so funny and hilarious because my day was very, very interesting. It was very, how stupid it was. Because, how would a cop, help you and he can't help you? Like, sorry, I can't help you with that. Like, and even the cops said, where these people are at? It's like, by the way, they're not in Canada, they're in the United States. But it was so funny and hilarious because that's the way it was, because that's how it seemed to be. And I had to stay positive. I had to make a cop laugh, right? And I made him grin because it's so funny and hilarious. Like you all had got to see him face, like got to see his face. He was like, oh my god, like he was laughing, and well, he wasn't laughing, but he was grinning on what I said. And once he said, I can't help you, sir, it's like he had to, like, bugger off and leave, like, the building immediately. Like, it was a waste of time. It was a waste of time. And I think to myself, like, well, why would that way about how it was, and this was a funny reading, by the way. It was funny, but the point being is that it was so hilarious that there was a good saying, is that you can't fix stupid. No, you can't. Like, you can't. You can't fix stupid. You can't. You could if you want to, but how would it be going into your control, right? That's how it was, because you have to understand about what was happening in this situation. Because it was just like, this is just a hilarious reading, by the way. But anyway, it was just how it was, because I think to myself, like, well, you ask and you shall receive, and it was very funny and hilarious because when I think about what cops do for their own living, like, fight crimes, put people in jail cells, whatever it is. It's so funny and hilarious on what I did to a funny cop. Like, it was hilarious because I think to myself, like, why would you? Why? Like, why? And even they think that I'm, like, vulnerable and whatever it is. Like, that's what a cop said to me. Like, really? Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, are you that stupid? Like, are you, like, that's what I'm trying to say is, right? And I'm not telling about all my viewers that you're stupid. No, you're not. But the point being is, about this whole entire reading, it makes sense, right? That's why when I felt like, I thought, okay, well, I thought that this cop wasn't in the same location I was and whatever, but he spooked the crap out of me. Like, he made me spooked, right? Like, almost jumped off my seat. But, that was just the expression, by the way. But the point being is that, in this whole entire reading, it made sense. It just made how ridiculous it was, because that's how it seems to be, right? And there was a good saying, is that you can't fix stupid. No, you can't, right? That's the way it was. But let's continue about this lovely, hilarious reading, by the way, okay? So anyway, it was very interesting about how it was, because I had, like, good luck on my side. I had strength. I had, positivity. I had decisions. I had lots of things to happen, right? And that's how it was. But it was very interesting about how it was in that perspective, where, okay, well, this is how stupid it was, and it was, right? Because that's how it seemed to be, and this reading does make sense, but it was funny. So I'll do the middle, so I'll do the top, the middle, and then work my way. So the 6 Pentacles reversed, I wasn't even having kindness. The 7 of Swords reversed, there was no like resilience, whatever, or deceit, whatever it was. The Ten of Swords here is I had no conclusions. But Chariot upright, I had progress. Two Pentacles upright, like a balancing two things at once. Ace of Cups reversed. The Six of Wands reversed, there was no celebration. The Devil reversed, there was no restrictions or addictions, whatever it was. The World is upright, there was completion. You know, everything was completed. You know, everything was, you know, had progress and things that were very interesting of how it was. You know, that's the way it seemed to be. And it was very interesting of how it was. Now I'm going to say what's happening on the right side. The Justice is upright, yeah, because I was balancing, you know, the Two of Swords, I don't know which direction I'm going to take, left or right. Page of Wands is upright, followed by the Five of Swords is upright, yeah, because I had conflict, you know. The Empress reversed, there was no nourishment. Four of Cups reversed, there was no distraction. Three of Wands reversed, yeah, there was no communication. No, not whatsoever. But the Eight of Cups was upright because there was, you know, I was being like an entertainer. I was being entertained, you know, and this is what happens where you get to that point of what in that perspective. So let me see what was happening in the middle, please. Give me one card. Yeah, the Queen of Swords was upright, yeah, because I was showing my independence. Yeah, I had to do things on my own, right? It was very interesting of how, you know, how it was. And I thought, okay, well, I know what to do, but then it's like, yeah, but this is the way it was. So give me a one card, please. The King of Pentacles separate, yeah, because I was being like a prosperity. I was, you know, how I can make money and all that stuff, right? I was being kind, you know, and it was very interesting. And let's see what was happening in this King of Pentacles. High Priestess is upright, yeah, because I was using my intuition, like my, you know, how I can do it. The Empress is upright, there was nourishment, yeah. The Emperor reversed, there was no structure. The Justice is upright, yeah, because I was telling the truth, you know. I did that because that's what it seemed to be. I thought, okay, well, this is the way I need to do it. This is the way of how I can proceed with my own abilities from the right and wrong perspective, right? And you know, it's the way of how it was in that way. So let me read you one card that represents that. And it says the sacred union, partnership, romance. Yeah, because I was having a partnership. I was having romance. I was feeling like I was being loved. You know, so it was very interesting about how enticing this is, because it was very funny, right? I know that, and it was so funny, right? Because that's how it was, right? Because you're feeling about how it was in that perspective, right? Because like I say, you can't fix stupid. No, you can't. But let me reveal that sacred union. I'm going to do 3 cards in this whole entire reading. And then I'll do the other side. Yep. So let's see what's on the left side, shall we? So the Two of Aries, being unstable, unable, or unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate. Pretending there is no problem. Yeah, because there was pretending that there was no problem, you know, and that's what it was. You know, it was very interesting of how it was, and, you know, I thought that, okay, well, you know, pretending there was no problem. Exactly, and that's what it seems to be in that perspective, you know. Next one, the Two of Water is a relationship that continues to grow closer, forgiveness, the positive resolution of a conflict. Yeah, it was, right? Because I was being positive. I was like, saying that, I wasn't in the wrong, and, I was telling the truth. Because in that perspective about what was happening, that was how it is. Because you have to believe that, okay, well, I know what to do. I can understand that, but that's how it was, right? The next one is the Knight of Air. Intelligent, decisive, idealistic, tireless. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options. Creative solutions. Yeah, I had that. I had to be creative, and it was funny because it was very interesting of how it was being intense, and it was, right? So I had to make sure about what was going on. I had to make sure about having all these details and everything else. It was very interesting of how it was, right? Because it was so insane that it was, right? What's on the right side? The Moon, Archanel Haniel. Importance like insights, the events behind the scenes. Release fears that hold you back. Yeah, there were events that behind the scenes. It was very interesting, and it was very interesting. It was funny and hilarious at the same time, right? Because I didn't know that the cop was actually in the same location I was, and I didn't realize that. But it was just so funny and hilarious that it's the way how it was, right? Next one, life experience or Camel. A significant life event, a powerful revelation that leads to change. Time to spread your wings. Yeah, it was like a life experience, and it was very simple about that. It was very assuring, and it was very interesting because it was very interesting of how it was, and you think, okay, well, everything was fine, but then it was like, okay, well, this is how it was because it was a life experience. And let's see for the last one, Knight of Air. Loyal, dedicated, honorable, kind. Time to buckle down and get things done. Honor your commitments. A guardian angel. Yeah, exactly, right? Because I had to honor my commitments. I had to be kind and be genuine and everything else. I was doing that. And it was very interesting of how it made that. It was like saying, okay, well, this is the way it was. This is, never happens, but then it was, right? So that was it seemed to be, right? So when you look at this, you think, okay, well, this is the way it was. Yeah, it was. Because you think that you're being all, stupid. This is just the reading. This is not being stupid. Like, take the freaking hint, And it was very interesting. Because you need to know about that. You need to know about your strengths, your weaknesses, your abilities from the right wrong perspective, right? And it was very interesting, right? And that's how it was because you learn from the lesson from it. You learn about how it was, and that's what it seems to be. But I'm going to see what was going on with the oracle reading about this sacred union. I'm going to go from that. This is what I just did with these cards here, but I'm going to do it with the other way around. So I'm going to do like how it was. This is just a funny reading, by the way. Like, you guys can laugh if you want, but it was hilarious. Very hilarious indeed. Alright, so let me see what's going on the left side, shall we? The Web Weaver. Synchronicity, divine, intelligence, cause and effect. Yeah, it was divine cause and effect, divine about that, how it was, and you have to believe what I was saying because it was very interesting, right? And it was very interesting about that as well, right? Next one. the sun dancers, joyful activity, celebration of life, abundance. Yeah, it was basically, you know, joy of of activity, and it was very enjoyable of how it was, because it made me like think about, wow, you know, it was very interesting, right? And it was very how it was, because it was based on that. It was based on how it was very significant on how it was, right? It was very interesting, right? Next one. The Lady of the Lightning. Surprises, sometimes shock, totally paradigm shift. Yeah, it was basically surprises and shock and all that. I didn't know that the cup was at the same location that I was. I didn't even understand about, you know, he showed up and whatever. But, you know, he was sneaky, you know, and he did that because that's what he was trying to do. You know, he understands what he did, but, you know, when he said, oh, I can't help you there, yeah, you can't. And on the right side, let's see, the Camel boy. Small steps, asking for help. Yeah, you know, I'm taking small steps right now. You know, and I would be asking for help, but, you know, it's the way how it was, because it was very interesting of how it was in that perspective. And, you know, I think that, you know, I'll make my own small steps, you know, and that's how it was, right? Next one, the Swan Queen. Transformation, intuition, patience. Yeah, I was using my intuition. I was using about that. I was using about having my patience and everything else, right? It was very, very interesting, because, you know, it was very enticing, and, you know, it was very how majestic of how this was, and this was what is interesting of how it was, right? And the next one is the Wise Women of Wonderland. Integrity, compromise. Yeah, it was basically integrity, and I had to compromise. I had to do things at once. I had that ability from the right and wrong. And, you know, that's how it was, because that's what it seemed to be, right? It was very interesting of how it was. And let me read you basically very interesting of how it was. So I'll read you about this. Alright, so I'll read you it. Basically, number 7, into the unknown. So this is very interesting about it, right? So it says for this into the unknown, it says trust, and all will be revealed. It says life is an adventure, and often new opportunities will arise that you won't know how to deal with. This is one of those times you're required to trust that this new faith will reveal wonders and miracles as you step into the unknown territory. Imagine that you're not only a pathfinder, but a path maker. Whatever your inquiry, trust that you'll be safe. Stay aware as you discover new and marvelous territories and valuable treasures. That's what it happens, right? So I was basically an unknown territory, but, you know, that's how it was, and, you know, this is the way it happens. But I hope you all like this video. Please give a like, please give a comment, laugh your expression, but that's how it seemed to be. So thank you so much. A wonderful day to all, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye for now. Really. Bye.